wish I was on the last episode because Gilmore Girls is one of my faves.
Yes. That was a fun one because I was literally laying down in a hotel room in Vegas and I was like, I'm just going to lay how I would watch the show.
I love
that was this time last year, right?
It was right around now.
That was this time.
Oh, happy
right
1 year anniversary, Joe, to me and you. We are just crushing it.
I think that was the first of all the shows where we covered it and I hadn't seen it before. And I was like, okay, I'm convinced I'm going to watch this show.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I had differing opinions from Julie. She says Suki is annoying, and I said, you better stop when I was listening to it as just a mere human who was not a podcast host at that time. I was like, my God. And then I shortly after joined the podcast when the Gilmore Girls episode aired, and I was like, I would have had so much to say, of course.
I still haven't watched Gilmore Girls.
It's so good.
I will say that particular episode, as much as I do love Suki, that is a very annoying Suki episode.
I guess.
She has my favorite joke of the whole episode, though, where she's like, I'm angry and I'm sad. I'm smad. Like, that's the best joke of the whole episode.
Gilmore Girls is one of those things where you said it best, you call it a warm blanket or something like that on the podcast. It really is. And like, that's one of the shows where when I'm watching it, I'm just calm and zen. And like you said, laying and watching and calm. Like there isn't anything that would ever make me I'm crying because some of the things are sad or whatever.
I feel like it was a warm blanket for the first like 5 seasons and then 6 and 7 is just like too much cliche drama where I'm just like there's like 10 episodes where Rory and Lorelai just aren't speaking to each other, and it's frustrating.
Awful. That's very frustrating. I'm talking about like OG Gilmore Girls. Yeah.
Seasons like 1 through 4. I feel like if I ever need to just like have background noise, it's perfect.
See, I push back on that. I'm seasons 4 through 6, like to the end of 6 too, because I like when she goes to Yale. I don't really care for I don't care for season 1. And season 2 is fine. Season 3 I can watch all the way through because it sets up season 4. But yeah,
I do like the Yale stuff.
But I mean,
too.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're talking about the OC. And I am so excited because I'm an OC girl through and through. I actually was just telling Matt and Kathleen that I started season 4 today because for whatever reason, after I watched this episode, I was like, I cannot remember how the series ends. So are you two going to watch it?
Yes.
I mean, do you care if I spoil something big that you probably already know?
I don't know anything, but go ahead.
Okay.
Fuck it.
So when Marissa dies, I was like thinking that was the end. Like I'm like, no, there's a whole other season after that. So I'm like, I have to rewatch season 4. So now I'm like 6 episodes into season 4 because that's all I did all day.
Wait, how many? There's only 4 seasons?
There's 4 seasons, but this is from like, early to like 2004, 2005, where network television is pumping out like 25 episodes. So there's 4 seasons, but almost 100 episodes.
Yep. Yeah. Season 4 has like 16, but the rest of the seasons have like, I think like 20 something episodes.
Yeah. So like you can have you can literally have like huge arcs of things and with these characters, and like it only happens within like 1 season, which is supposed to be like 1 academic year because it starts with the end of summer and then goes into like the beginning of the next summer as the episode plays out.
For me, never have being seen.
There you go.
No, that wasn't it either. I've never seen this show. It felt so familiar to me. Like I don't know. It's a mix of One Tree Hill and Laguna Beach. It felt so familiar, and I immediately was like, I'm obsessed with this.
It's great.
I don't know how I have never seen it.
I'm shocked that you haven't seen it either. So 'tis the season, bitches. We're talking about season 1, episode 13, the best Chrismukkah ever, with Joe. Joe's back.
He's back.
And Joe said he was going to do this episode on the Gilmore Girls episode. He's like, I want to come back when we can do a Chrismukkah episode.
And I'm glad that you stuck to your word.
I was a prophet.
This show is great. It's very dramatic, but again, we have to remember when it was out. So watching it now, I'm like, oh my God, so dramatic. Like every Marissa scene is so dramatic.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. I hate her. I hate Marissa. Hate her.
Wait, I have so many questions. So one being, do we always hate Marissa?
Joe,
you can answer that first because it came out really hot hating Marissa.
That's true.
Because you're a fan and that surprises me, but it also doesn't surprise me.
I love Summer. I always have loved Summer. So Summer starts out in the beginning like just sucking. She's just like your average, like popular
like Sophia
girl.
Bush kind of in One Tree Hill.
Yeah, I would
Brooke
say that's
Davis.
a good example of what Summer was like. So like, I guess if I'm thinking about it, like I probably didn't hate Marissa in the earlier seasons, but then she just goes through some shit.
I mean, we're literally in season 2 during this.
Oh wait, we're in season 1. Fuck.
Wait, Chrismukkah's in season 1?
Chrismukkah's in season 1.
My note is wrong because I literally have, if Marissa has a drinking problem in season 2, what the fuck does she do for the rest of the seasons?
So that's what I'm saying. There's so much drama with Marissa. So shit, now I have to think. I guess I'm thinking of like how you were like, they're long seasons. Like I'm like, oh, this has got to be like season 4 that we're talking about.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, this is like an hour long, well, 45 minutes, but hour long with commercials episode of television, and this is episode 13, right? So The Crown is 10 episodes. It's
right.
Where you're able to pack more in. I mean, I rewatched the OC this summer, like in this past summer in full because hashtag COVID. And this episode happens like right after we have like Marissa ODing in Mexico, and like all of these shenanigans have happened to get us to this point. They try to break her out of the hospital because Julie Cooper wants to commit her to like go to San Diego to some rehab facility. Like there's all this drama that has happened. And it's like 13 episodes in, and we're only maybe halfway through because there's 2 more episodes that come up with the character at the end, the twink from Phantom of the Megaplex, who, with the dark hair. That was just for Matt. I said that just for Matt.
And he loved it.
So you have like Oliver at the end, right? So like and then there's 2 more episodes with Oliver where things get really intense with him before you even get to the new year, because 3 more episodes with Oliver, but one of those episodes in the middle is like the new year, and that's like what, 15 episodes into this 20-something episode season.
Yeah.
Like we don't make television like this anymore unless it's an SVU or an NCIS. And so to see like this was such a cultural phenomenon in again a very kind of, I guess, outdated way to make TV is just like was fascinating to me.
I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I think season 3 Marissa gets better because she starts to like grow more. They're older, they're more mature. So she gets involved with, her death is involved with a bad person. A hot person, but a bad person.
And he like never wears a shirt.
Never.
Like, just never.
Never. And he's like hardcore in season 4 because that's, I'm watching season 4. I really should rewatch the series before I answer your question on if I hate Marissa or not, because I think I'm mixing up time frames, just like I said, because I was thinking that this was like season 3 and it's actually season 1. So I think I need to rewatch.
But my answer to that question, Kathleen, is upon a rewatch, having not watched it in maybe like 7 years prior to that this summer, I do hate Marissa.
Okay.
Because it's such like dumb girl shit. Like it's just, it's pink stupid girls, but in a person, that's
100%.
And like, yeah, we get it. You have like, you have all these issues or whatever, but like the way you rebel against that is to like, experiment with bisexuality and like, fuck the pool boy. Like it's really nothing. Summer I didn't like, but Summer gets better. End of season 3 into season 4, Summer is my favorite character because she's the only person I feel that has a very specific and defined arc in her development.
You mean girl-wise or all of the characters?
Of all the characters. And that includes Ryan, because end of season 1, Ryan, like it literally is the parallel episode to episode 1. He like goes away from the OC and then, of course he comes back. But like if the OC didn't get picked up for a second season, that first season is like the best because the way it ends is the way it started. And so he has some regressions, and then Seth also has his regressions as well. But like the only person I feel that has like any true growth besides Kirsten is Summer.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because I don't really like, Rachel Bilson is exactly what you said. She's like Mila Kunis and Sophia Bush mixed together.
I think you said on the last episode you hate her.
Oh, Summer? Yeah.
No, you don't like Rachel Bilson.
Oh, yeah, I don't like Rachel Bilson.
How come? Why? Let's talk about it.
Because she took my man. She took Hayden Christensen. And then I think they broke up, but they were together when they made Jumper.
Okay, so there's no actual reasons to hate Rachel Bilson because I really like her.
No.
Okay, cool.
No, I love Rachel
really
Bilson.
Like again, it's like very pink, stupid girls. The reason why I don't like her.
Joe, did you watch Heart of Dixie?
No, and I'm afraid to watch it because I'm probably gonna get sucked in.
It's really cute.
I know.
I watched 2 seasons.
I never finished it.
Yeah, me neither. It was years ago, but man, is it cute.
Yeah, it's
really
super cute.
Okay.
I've decided after one episode that Seth Cohen is my dream guy.
Love Seth Cohen. So in any normal situation, Kathleen would pick Seth Cohen and I would pick Ryan.
Yeah.
That's just how we go.
Yep.
Like if you think about if you listen to our Jane the Virgin, like I was Raph, she was Michael, but I am so in on Seth Cohen.
Yeah.
I texted our group chat today and said this is so out of character, but I would date Seth Cohen in a heartbeat. But you get to see like a shitty Seth Cohen in this episode.
Great for him. But it's in the moments where he's so hype for Chrismukkah. It's in those like dorky trying to get Ryan into it, like talking to his parents so quick with these dumb jokes, like, and I was like, whoa, I'm feeling something in my heart. But yes, the storyline with the two girls, Anna and Summer, is out of control. I was like, who let this happen?
Yeah.
Has this been happening for episodes at a time?
So it does happen for episodes at a time, and realistically, like Anna is the perfect girl for Seth. 100%.
There's no question.
Yes, like none at all. And you see that in this episode. Like Anna makes Seth a comic book and
stop.
Summer gets in a slutty outfit and tries to fuck him, basically. Like, so any normal world he would be with Anna and that would be it. And he is with Anna at some point in the series, right?
In the next episode, he gets with Anna. It's the next 2 or 3 episodes are like the Anna episodes.
Yeah. And so the background of Seth Cohen is that he was obsessed with Summer and was like a nobody. And then Ryan like comes along and kind of like makes him somewhat of a somebody. Then like he tries pursuing Summer, and then, you know, Anna comes and all of a sudden people are fighting over Seth Cohen out of nowhere.
Quick question for you, Joe. As someone who has never seen, I could tell that Ryan obviously is this like broody, grew up in, maybe had in a bad childhood. How does he end up in the OC? Can you explain that to me?
Not to spoil Julie's rewatch of it, because it does get addressed in the last episode. But basically, the thing I love about this show is that like people end up exactly where they begin, and it's like it's the cyclical nature of things. I'm not saying the OC is like, you know, this like big Buddhist TV show or anything about the circle of life, but basically Ryan is struggling. So the first season of the show is Ryan trying to escape his past, trying to escape where he's from. And they make a big deal that he's from Chino, in the same way that in Karate Kid, they make a big deal that Daniel's from Reseda. So, you know, it's like these like shitty California towns no one really talks about. And then in like season 2, his arc is that like now it's about him accepting where he is. So it's about him accepting and looking to the future. And it's the idea that like he can dare to dream. He can dare to be more. He actually is very intelligent, and he's using that. So what's interesting about this is that like there are the regressions, like regressions do happen. So like he goes back into what he knows about like going, you know, drinking or fighting or like violence as a way to solve problems, because he's not really good with words, but he is good with his fists. And that comes up a lot in the series. But like the overall arc is that it kind of, in the way that like, so the whole premise of the OC is that like Sandy Cohen is a public defender whose client Ryan that he meets like basically gets kicked out of his house after his first day in juvie, and he takes him in, and then he just like adopts him basically. Like now he's living in this rich people's pool house because he had nowhere to go. And there, it's kind of hinted at, and you kind of see like, you know, like my Christmas and my Christmas at my house was like my mom getting drunk and me getting beat up. And I'm like, okay, well, so what ends up happening with him is that like he ends up finding ways to kind of like address and answer for his past that like create like good, like he's closed the door on it, and he's able to move forward and deal with like his newfound privilege.
I'm glad this is a season 1 episode now, because he's still, while they're talking about the traditions of the Cohen house, he's still obviously like not used to it. He has no idea how to act. He doesn't want to take because he's used to not, like, he doesn't want to overstep. Whatever it is, it makes so much more sense knowing it's a season 1 episode.
I was going to say, I got very, like, Jesse from Gilmore Girl vibes 100%. From him.
Yes, very much so. But, like, if we had to compare the two, I probably would take Ryan over Jess. So I'm also Michael from Jane the Virgin.
Love that about you.
And when I initially watched this show, so the whole reason why I got into the OC in the first place is because I did watch it live, and then I stopped watching after season 3. Like middle of season 3. And then I picked it up again because I had, like, my friend gifted me the DVDs, like, of all the seasons. And I picked it up because I was using it. I had just had my heart broken by somebody, and it was a friend who I was, like, really in love with. And then he, like, friend broke up with me. And I, as a way to kind of get over that, I binged the OC like every day for like 3 weeks. I just, as much as I could, and I only watched that, and like I didn't feel any better afterwards, but I did feel like, oh, okay, like, the problems of these like rich white people in like a Southern California town just like 2 hours from here makes me feel like a little bit better. And it was nice to kind of get caught up in the drama. And so I mentioned that because the guy that I was like trying to get over looked exactly like Seth Cohen.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so like when I would tell my friends, like, oh, I'm like watching the OC right now, and they're like, oh, I understand why, because he looks like, so and so. But now that I rewatch it, I'm like less attracted to Seth and definitely more attracted to Ryan. And it's because Ryan has like, he is able to keep up with Seth in a way that I don't think is really appreciated in the first watch of this, because Seth is very witty and he knows he's witty. He knows he's funny. He knows he can be ironic and stuff. But like Ryan is also right there going with him like tit for tat, and he doesn't get credit for it because he's supposed to be the like, brooding like character with that god awful choker from 2003, for goodness sake. And so I think like now it's like, okay, I definitely would be more into Ryan than I would be into Seth, because like, especially this episode, you're right, he does not come off looking good at all. It's very shitty. First of all, you're giving the same gifts to two people who potentially could talk to each other, which is like awful.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's not the best, but it's also like his enthusiasm is endearing.
Any sane person would know that this situation is not going to work out. Yeah. Like, I was watching and being like, this can't be true. I was
hating the girls. Tell him to fuck off.
I know, right? But you're right. I am a Rachel Bilson fan, so of course I know Summer and Seth are a thing in the show, whatever. But I've never even seen this Anna girl in reference to the OC in anything. So I was like, I kind of like this girl. And that comic book, I'm like, I relate to her, obviously, more than I would relate to Summer's character. But one of my questions is, was there like a Team Ryan, Team Seth thing going on in the time this was airing? Is that like a big OC fandom thing?
I feel like everyone was more Ryan.
But was that a thing?
I don't think so.
Like Team Raph, Team Michael?
Not in the same way Team Jess and Team Dean. Not in the same way that,
I guess.
Like, well, I mean, I don't know if Team Jess, Team Dean was just a Gilmore Guys thing, but like, it's not in the same way because like they were just so different. Yeah. Like,
whoever's Team Dean,
if you think about the time period, it's like one was blonde and one was not. One was like Jewish and obviously like very Jewish personality, and one is not. And
well, and also they're not going for the same girl, so it's not like you're like, oh my God, Marissa, pick him.
That's a great point, Julie. That really is. Yes. I didn't realize that because I was also gonna ask if they ever switch girls at all.
No.
Okay.
Can you imagine a Seth and Marissa relationship?
Well, they mentioned something. Well, because Seth and Marissa have known each other for
because they're next door neighbors.
Together. Yeah, because they're next door neighbors. So it very well could have happened, but no, I can't picture it because it's just like
it's so absurd.
I just can't picture it.
See, I like to think that the more opposite. I love, which team are you on? Because I think it shows something about yourself. Yeah. Like it is classic. Julie is Team Raph and I'm Team Michael. It just makes sense. And it would make sense, like you said, that you would be Team Ryan and I would be Team Seth, but you're not. And then Jess and Dean, I would say more I don't listen to Gilmore Guys. I only listen to maybe like the first 5 or 6 episodes and like random ones when they had like Scott Patterson on or whatever his name is. I would think it would be more Jess and Logan, not Jess and Dean. Dean, come on, you better stop.
I know, no one likes Dean.
But anyway, I could talk about this episode. For me, never seeing this, I'm obsessed with this episode.
It's amazing.
It's a great Christmas episode.
It's a Christmas episode. So there's multiple Chrismukkah episodes. I want to say there's at least 2 or 3. It might be every season. Yeah,
there's one every season.
I just feel like you have to watch them when December comes. Like it's like just any type of show. Like I get so mad when I'm watching a show and like I'm catching up on a show that like it's been off TV for like 6 years and I'm finally giving it a shot and I'm watching it in like July and like a Christmas episode comes on and I'm like, fuck, I wish I was watching this like while it was on when it probably came out in December and there's a reason for like a Christmas episode. Like I said, I'm rewatching season 4 right now and I just got past their Thanksgiving episode and I'm like,
perfect time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's the episode where Summer invites all the homeless people over because she doesn't want to talk about what she's dealing with.
Classic.
It's so good.
You'll also have the early appearance of Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Is in season 4.
He goes to college with Summer and they are like huge into like saving the environment and that's like kind of where you see the growth of Summer of like season 1 through 3. It's like going to the mall, shopping, like buying shoes. Like Seth brings her like Valley Girls DVD and she's like, I don't enjoy this anymore. And it's like, yes, Summer, yes.
I'm not that girl anymore, Seth.
Oh, nice.
But does that mean that I'm not your girl anymore? Like that's the whole premise of season 4 with the two of them, basically.
That's what I'm saying. I blacked out season 4. I cannot remember anything.
So you're gonna love this, but like in rewatching it, in the beginning, I was like, I hate Julie Cooper. That actress has the perfect like witch face for all of this. Rewatching it, I'm like, you know what? Julie Cooper's not that bad. She really is trying to be a good mother in the only way she knows how.
She's a very pretty actress.
But she has like that, because I can't stop seeing her as like the dominatrix from the first CSI, like from the original CSI, because she was a dominatrix and then she played like Amanda, the seductress deprogrammer in Nikita. I watch a lot of TV.
That's
Me
okay.
too.
Somewhere someone's listening to this and they're like, oh my God, I forgot about that, Nikita. And so I have a question for you two, and consequently also for Matt as well. So when you're thinking about like the 5 things in like a starter pack, like in a Julie, Kathleen, Matt starter pack, like what are you giving them? What are you giving that person?
So you mean
like
what Seth gives them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like DVD, CDs, like his, like this is a Seth Cohen starter pack. These are the 5 things that are like the basic foundational things that you need to like at least have heard, so that way you can understand a window into my soul, or like you're sharing that bit of your soul with somebody. So if you're thinking about that in terms of like giving it to a potential significant other, or even like just someone that you really want to be like a close friend to, what are those things?
That is an amazing question.
It is.
I'm gonna think about that for the rest of my life.
I know. I can't even think like.
See, mine, I am you, where I watch TV is my personality. Like, I think, would you agree with that, Julie?
Yes.
That like, but I have like my on Instagram, really the only thing I post is, oh my God, I just watched this show, everybody watch it. Like, it's all I post, and I'm huge on TV. So if DVDs were still a thing, I feel like it would just be like a Scream DVD. Like, I have a Grey's Anatomy DVD, like something about the magicians. Like, I'm only thinking about TV if I'm trying to think of at least one object that's not TV related.
Yeah.
And I'm unsure.
Yeah. Do you have your list, Joe?
I don't, because this is constantly something that I think about often. And I kind of did something similar. So when I was like in the beginning stages of dating my boyfriend, we're coming up on a year. So about like this time last year, I thought it would be really cool if like we shared each other's like top 100 songs that like are basically make up our essence. Like this is, and I said like, these are the songs that like I will never skip. I will always listen to if it comes up on shuffle, or these are songs that speak to a very specific part of me or make me feel something, like these 100 songs. And so I shared that playlist with him. He shared his with mine. And I feel like that was something like I got a look into his soul in a way that I didn't think that I would be able to. And like that's kind of where that came from, is like the Seth Cohen starter pack.
Yeah.
But I always think about that because it's like I also would be like TV related stuff or movies or some sort of like this playlist would be one of those things, like this playlist of the 100 songs or, you know, this thing. But there's just so much that I can't seem to choose. But like, I think for me, it would start off with music. So in the same way that like he's a huge Death Cab fan, like I think it would start off with that playlist as like the definitive first thing of the like 5 things, the Joe starter pack, you know?
I love that you did that. I think that's awesome. See, if I did that with my husband, now that I have to say my husband,
I'm like, he your husband
it's
now.
so forced. I hate it. Like I'm like my like I can't. It's like so. Oh God, I hate it. Literally. But like if I did that, like Mayan is like musicals, like and Kenny's would be like strictly like rap, and he loves like old school rock. So like I guess I've been with him for so long that like now it's like I know what would be on his, and I'm sure he would know what's on mine just because of how much I like sing obnoxiously around our house, like Mamma Mia songs.
I think my top 100 would concern somebody. Like I think they would look at this top 100 and be like, there's a lot of sad shit on here.
Yeah, what is wrong with you? Are you doing duets by yourself?
Like, boy, am I.
No, I am too. I ain't judging you.
I also think mine would be really concerning for people because it would be like everything from musicals, but like some of the really sad, like, because I have a lot of breakup songs. I was listening to it, and when I realized that I was giving this to somebody I was like dating, I was like, don't be afraid of the fact that there's a lot of breakup songs on here. It's just that, like, you know, when you identify as like a sad gay boy spelled BOI, like, you know, you like really like this like Robin's Dancing on My Own like is very much like how I feel on most days.
And something about a breakup song, like you could be the happiest person in the world and belting a breakup song feels so good. Like the other day I was by myself getting ready and I was blasting You Ought to Know, like doing my makeup, like literally doing my makeup in a sports bra and shorts and like going all out in the mirror, like putting on my foundation, like lip singing, looking at myself. Like it was a vibe, and you would thought that I was going through a hardcore fucking breakup.
Yeah, it's crazy because I recently went through one in like April timeframe, and it's crazy how songs that are breakup songs in nature, when you listen to when you're happy and in a relationship, you love them. They're sad and they make you sad, but you listen to that same fucking song after the breakup, it is a completely different game. It's like, holy shit. So I went through the ones where sad songs, like I couldn't listen to them and then I got over it, but then there was ones like I told Julie that You Ought to Know was like my fucking fuck you breakup song where I tried to just channel that more instead of the like good. But we had a text conversation one time during my breakup that we were sending each other songs, and I sent you that Crazier Thing song and you were like, sis.
Yeah, I was like, Kathleen, no, put the phone down. But at my bachelorette party, me and Kathleen, we performed a lot of songs. We performed You Ought to Know, and I had my heart broken too, okay? Like we were both in mourning.
And Angel Eyes, that was our other good one.
Angel Eyes, Mamma Mia, don't even start.
Since You've Been Gone, right? Like, I mean,
Behind These Hazel Eyes. I mean, my eyes are hazel.
Behind These Hazel Eyes, yes.
Matt, I want to know your starter pack, but I have a guess that your Jim Henson book is included.
No.
That's shocking.
So this was so I think this is shocking because like the Muppets almost made it on this list, and then I was like, if I'm giving someone a starter pack, it's got to be like 5 things where there is a singular memory that is tied to that thing. So like the Muppets is like so all encompassing for me that it's like, oh, I've loved it since I was a kid and I've like loved it my whole life. But these are like ones where it's like, no, there's like a story tied to like my love of these things. So my 5 things would have been the Scrubs season 1 DVD. It would have been the movie Harold and Maude. It would be the Garden State soundtrack. It would be the Avett Brothers' I Am Lovin' You. And it would be Chuck Klosterman's book, Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs, a Pop Culture Manifesto.
I don't even know how you did that so fast. It's like you've been thinking about this your whole life.
Well, pretty much. You have to remember that like I spend a lot of time thinking in lists.
Yeah.
So it was like very much like, okay, obviously they have to watch Scrubs because I feel like no other show speaks to like who I am as a person than Scrubs. And then Harold and Maude is like, that is like my relationship litmus test movie. Like it's not, it doesn't fall into like the usual category of like, oh, Matt loves horror movies, he loves Christmas movies. But like Harold and Maude is like, if you watch this movie and you don't feel the same powerful surge of like living your life to the absolute fullest that I feel every single time that I think about that movie, then like there's going to be like our concepts of like what makes the world worth living are so dramatically different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the Garden State soundtrack was like the breakup soundtrack of my entire life. And then the Avett brothers, like Avett. I know, I'm so bad at saying their name. The Avett brothers, I mean, I love their whole discography, but like that album, I have like a very distinct memory of putting the CD in my car for the first time and driving somewhere and like literally sitting in the parking lot until the album was done. Because I was like, I can't stop this. This is incredible. And then Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs is like, I've probably read that book like 70 times. Like it's how I write. Everything that I write is inspired by that.
Okay, wait. So, I mean, back to the OC. For Julie Cooper, I was like, whoa, Marissa's mom is banging Seth's grandpa?
Yeah.
I was like, or married to. And I was like, but you don't like get introduced to that until the middle of the episode. And I was like trying to catch up. First of all, I wasn't even sure that was Marissa's mom because of the way she was treating her until she was like yelling at the dad, being like, it always happens when she's with you. And I'm like, God, Julie's such a bitch.
Yeah. I am a bitch. Jimmy sucks in the beginning, the very beginning. Dad? Yeah. But he grows on me.
I think he's hot.
I think he's hot too. And I always just think of the episode of Friends, multiple episodes of Friends, where Rachel is like obsessed with him. Yeah. Because, that's just what I think of when I see him. But he grows on me.
Jimmy Cooper is hot dad.
Yes.
He's hotter than Sandy Cohen.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yes. 100%.
Although it is nice seeing Peter Gallagher in this role because did you watch Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's nice to see him like actually being able to like being a part. I mean, he was like the biggest part of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, but it's nice to see him like up and about. And so
this show was supposed to be like, this is the starring Peter Gallagher show. Like that was how it was billed. He's top billed in this. And I'm like, was he that big of a star in the like late 90s, early 2000s that like this is like his career making move, but like before we get introduced to the core four, high school kids. And I just thought that was so strange because like who still has a career? Peter Gallagher, Adam Brody still has a career. Very much Ben McKenzie, who plays Ryan, has a career. Rachel Bilson, to a certain extent,
he plays
has a
Batman
career.
In Gotham.
Jim Gordon, he plays the commissioner.
Yeah.
Not Batman. Yes, correct.
I'm glad you said that because like I've never watched the OC in my life beyond this episode. And I remember watching it and being like, did I blink and miss Adam Brody's name pop up? Because I was like, there was like 6 people that went before his name popped up. And in my mind, I was like, this is like the Adam Brody show. Like, that's what I always knew it as.
But I think this created Adam Brody. Like, you have to remember, this was 2003 or something like that. Like, it was a long time ago, and he's young in this show.
Interesting you say that because I don't have any stock in Adam Brody until this moment, until after watching this episode. But I just listened to him on Armchair Expert, and he was talking. First of all, he's a very smart dude. In real life, way cockier than I thought he was going to be. Just like I thought he was going to be more like the dorky side like he is on this. But he's very like confident and cocky and married to Leighton Meester. So he's like talking about that. But he was talking about the early days and Dax was kind of asking him questions. And he was like, well, I was already the top billed character on like a Brady Bunch remake. Like he was like talking up his before this. Like the podcast episode took a while to get to the OC.
Really?
And I was like, wow, it was a very interesting episode.
Maybe in my head he only became relevant after the OC.
So it's nice that you picked this episode now after I listened to that. So now I'm like fully Adam Brody, Seth.
Well, Adam Brody was in Growing Up Brady, but it's basically the movie is based on the guy who played Greg Brady. It was his recount and memoir of the time on the show. And so it's like Adam Brody plays Greg Brady, or plays Barry, whatever his name is, that plays Greg. And then Kaylee Cuoco plays Maureen McCormick, who plays Marcia, and there's like a whole thing with their love affair and how he kind of like almost maybe had a love affair with Florence Henderson.
Yes.
Like it's really strange. But that was like my very first introduction to Adam Brody. And then it wasn't until like the OC when it's like, okay, I understand what's going on. I like, skinny, nebbish Jewish guys. That's my sexuality.
Well, and it's funny that you said like how only some of the characters now on the show are relevant. So I feel like I heard that Marissa was killed off because she thought she could do bigger and better things in the OC, and then she absolutely didn't. Like, she didn't get any acting roles. And then, shame on myself, I watched the Hills. They just like re-aired The Hills, and she's on it, and it's like, what are you doing here? Why are you on this? And she's there, and then I don't think she made it to season 2. Like, season 2 hasn't came out yet, but I don't think that she's a part of it.
Yeah, I don't remember. You very well could be right, but I just know that like for whatever stuff was happening in her like outside life, because she was very much like in the tabloids. Like, I think I was like, oh my god, what's her name again?
Misha Barton.
Misha Barton basically doing Marissa Cooper in real life, because she's like smoking and drinking and walking around with big sunglasses. And I think she had to go to rehab for something. And that was part of it as well. Like at least when her maybe career failed and she had to go to rehab. I don't entirely know, but I know that she none of them ever want to do like a reboot reunion, OC reunion. Like that's that's the interesting thing, because I remember like watching like YouTube stuff after, like as I was rewatching the series, and it was like, yeah, so-and-so's on the record saying, nope, never need to go back there again. Never need to go back there again. Never need to go back there again. And I just wonder if working with McG was that bad. Yeah. I just think it was because it was such like a moment in time. Like, listening to some of the music, not just in this episode, but in other episodes, it like takes me back to like that early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I had just moved to California in 2004. So like my only frame of reference for Southern California was the OC. Yep. And so like hearing the music like takes me back to like, being with friends at the mall, and, remember the mall? Remember when like, yep. We're going to go to the mall and shop for things. And now it's just like, boop, 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 Amazon gets it here in 2 days. Yeah.
I mean, if I wasn't invested in this show watching this episode, when it ends with a Bright Eyes cover of Blue Christmas, I was like, ooh, this is speaking to college Matt in like such a deep way right now.
And it has an absolutely amazing theme song. That song, when it comes on my playlist, I just like think of summer, because I think of this show. So I'm thinking of beaches. Like,
can you sing it for me really quick? Because I cannot think of it right now.
We've been on the run, driving in the sun, looking out for number one. California, here we come. Like, it's so the piano in the beginning, like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, it's giving me.
I know, and I get the same way with One Tree Hill, like the part that it comes in where it's like the slow part of like,
I don't want to be.
Yeah, like, no, but in the beginning he's like dribbling the basketball, and it's slow, and I'm just like, oh my god, it takes me back to a time.
Do either of you know Jason Schwartzman?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know Joe knows. Jason Schwartzman is like this very famous independent actor. He's in like every Wes Anderson movie. But before he was an actor, he was the drummer and piano player in Phantom Planet.
Jason Schwartzman's mother is Talia Shire, who is the sister of Nicolas Cage.
I hate Nicolas Cage.
I had a Nicolas Cage poster on my wall in college.
I hate him. Kenny made me watch that movie.
National Treasure.
No, the one where he's on the plane going home.
Oh, Con Air?
Yeah.
You hate Con Air?
No, I don't hate Con Air. I hate Nicolas Cage.
That's insane. I love the National Treasure movies so much. I would watch 800 of them. Like, it is like a family thing that me, Jimmy, and my dad go, and we went and saw both, but every time it's on, we'll sit and watch it. And if for any National Treasure fans out there, we always say, like, who's the secret lie with?
The secret lie with Charlotte.
I knew you were my friend, Joe.
Is National Treasure part of the Kathleen starter
pack? It might
be,
honestly. That speaks to a very specific part of me, I think. That really does. I love it. And it's like a family thing. So
you got to have something where, like, if you had to break it down, you got to have something that speaks to your past and your childhood, how you are with your family, how you are with your friends, who you are now, and where you're going to go. Like, I just came up with that right now.
God, but I feel like if you're that was poetry, by the way.
it's like you have to have like that going forward. And so and it's just funny because it's like he just bundled it up and here you go. And for me, it's just like I don't know if that's how I would introduce someone to the 5 things that like make up my soul, my essence. Anyone watched 500 Days of Summer?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that moment in 500 Days of Summer where the narrator's like, Tom is like realizing that he has now entered a world that very few people have ever been to, like in like by going to Summer's apartment, like and that's how I can tell you specifically when I've seen those moments in like every single person that I've ever been romantically involved with. The moment where I knew that I was bringing them into something that was very close to me, and the moment when I felt like they were bringing me into something very close with them.
Oh my God.
And so like it's not just like, I don't think it's just like, here you go, Merry Christmas, and I gave it to another person too.
I want to like hire you as my like therapist. Like,
yeah, I think I love you. I like the way your brain works.
Yeah.
It's everything you're saying is really doing it for me because I
can we
think
do
exactly the
this
same way
every Wednesday at 7:15.
Yeah, no, my brain works exactly the same way. It's really nice to hear you articulate it out loud.
So this is not a plug, but so there's actually another reason that I watched the OC. So I rewatched it because I was cast in a kind of like experimental theater project done digitally because of the pandemic. And the artist that does it, he basically hired 10 artists from around the world who are like the quote unquote unofficial experts in one particular television show. And basically I would Zoom with people paid to like have this like one-to-one performance. So people would Zoom in with me and then they would tell me like a problem that they were having. And I would prescribe to them an episode of the OC that I felt like addressed their problem.
I love that.
And this particular artist, he does the same thing, but he does it in person, and he does it with Sex and the City because he's watched Sex and the City like upwards of 50 times, like the whole series front to back. And he did it to me, and I was having trouble with something, and he recommended like 4 episodes of Sex and the City, and I've watched them, and it does work. There was one girl from Germany who did the Gilmore Girls. There was one girl from New York who did Parks and Rec and all that stuff. And so I was the OC guy. And it's like, yeah, I've seen all episodes of the OC, but I also picked a show that I knew that not many people had seen. And like rewatching it and kind of diving deeper into it, like I was like, wow, this show really is like, it's such a specific time period, but there's definitely things that are applicable to today. And the people came in with heavy questions because this was July. So like it was right after all the stuff with the Black Lives Matter movement, like we're in the height of COVID, and people were just like bringing in their COVID stuff, bringing in all of their problems about it. And I'm like, I don't know how like Marissa taking the car, I don't know how like, Seth Cohen's like, witty humor and the problems of Ryan, I don't know how that's going to help you, but here it is.
Yeah.
And then, there was some people were very receptive and some people were like, I'm never watching this. Like, I'm like, okay, well, you paid the money, so I'm not.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit.
What I gave you.
Did they know they were signing up for the OC when they got?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they were signing up for whatever came on. So like, there was one person that was like, oh my God, like if this was Star Trek, original Star Trek, I'd know that no problem. And I was like, oh, sorry, this is the OC. This is the opposite of Star Trek.
Yeah.
The complete opposite. Did you have to talk them through their issue, or no, you literally just prescribed the episode couple minutes?
I just asked more questions and whatever. I just pick the things. So like I had the full list of episodes for each season, and I literally wrote out what I thought those episodes dealt with. So I put like death and dying, and then all the episodes that dealt with death and dying. I picked up what are the top 10 most common problems of people. And then like after the first 5 like performances of this, I did 3 shows a day for like 2 weeks. And after the first 5 performances, I was like, shit, I need to pick out the COVID ones. So what are the ones that COVID? Well, this one deals with this, and this one deals with never anything specifically about COVID, but about like how to adapt to, dramatic circumstances, know? So I was like, yes. And in this episode, someone dramatic dies, and this is how the characters dealt with it and all that stuff. And
wow. Yeah,
and then at the end, we sang the theme song.
I love that. It's so weird to me. Like I catch myself doing this, that when I see like big events on TV shows, I'm like, no way this could happen with COVID. Like that's what I think now when I see, so like the dinner party of like this episode, like all those people at, it's at the Cooper's house, right? It's
Caleb's
Cal's
house.
Yeah, Cal's house. I'm like,
it's
couldn't happen.
Caleb's mansion.
Yeah, I'm like, couldn't happen. COVID.
Yeah. I was watching the current season of The Crown, and Princess Margaret was coughing, and I was like, oh shit, she's got COVID. Yeah. And I'm like, no, Joe, this is happening in the 80s, and she smokes a lot. So.
Yeah, like, isn't it crazy that that's what you like think of now? Like, it's like, that couldn't happen. Like,
The Crown is so good, isn't it? I love this season. I'm only a few episodes in because I'm trying to savor it and not just binge it all at once. I almost binged all of it in one day on Sunday, but I've been behaving.
I'm definitely taking my time. My favorite season so far, even with these episodes, my favorite season still the previous season 3. I thought that one was like was perfect, but I'm really liking these episodes, and I really feel sorry for Diana.
Oh my God. Like, it's really something else. Yeah. But I love all the tweets that were like, I can't even think of what it's called. Like, I would never wear the wrong shoes to the...
Oh, Balmoral.
Yes. Oh my God. I would never wear the wrong shoes. Like, people are going... It's... The royal etiquette is fucking insane. Like, season 4 is all about Diana coming in. And
I've never watched that show.
Okay, but you know Princess Diana and all that. Oh my God. And she's just like, they're trying to learn all the like, it's insane. It's so stupid. It's honestly stupid, but I love it so much.
The royal family like come out with something saying they were pissed about the most recent season?
Probably. I'm surprised that they haven't released statements every year talking about how weird this is. But also secretly, part of me wants to believe that like maybe they send her the scripts, the queen, they like send it to her, and then she just kind of like signs off on it or like doesn't say anything and she's okay with it.
Wow, I might have to I'm trying to catch
up on... This is now
a
Crown recap.
Yeah. I'm trying to catch up on Grey's, and then I paused Grey's to watch season 4 of the OC, and then Summer's going back to school and her dad takes her and he says that he's going to get another job at Seattle Grace.
He says that?
Yes.
They're in the same universe?
And I was like, oh my God.
Wait, what did the OC air on?
It aired on Fox.
Yeah.
Wow, because Grey's is ABC.
She wants to be a doctor because she wants to be... They do talk about Grey's Anatomy, I think. And that's why he said that. Because there's like... It exists in the same... They made it exist in the same universe.
That's incredible. Love that. Love any sort of Grey's Anatomy
I was
reference.
like, ooh, I never pick up on stuff, but I picked up on that. Probably because I'm watching Grey's right now.
Yeah, baby.
All right, we're just gonna keep talking about other shows if we don't wrap this up.
I know. Wow, I really could talk. I could talk to you, Joe, forever. I could sit here for fucking ever.
I rarely get the opportunity to talk about non-horror things, and when I do get to talk about non-horror things, I just snatch it like snatch it like it's going out of style. So.
I could talk about the OC forever.
The only thing I do want to talk about is Marissa shoplifting. I was like, bitch, come on, please. Speaking about malls.
The most dramatic scene, too.
Yeah.
He's like, ma'am, I said I want to see your purse.
I know. That's just not how it works either.
No.
Like,
the thing would have went off. Like, he wouldn't have followed them to their car.
Yeah, each store is every man for themselves. There's not like a mall guy with a fucking headset that's like, we got another one. They're running out. Like, it's like, no, dude. If you stole from Claire's and if the Claire's people don't get you, you're not getting got.
He doesn't yell for her. He just follows her closely to her car.
Right. And he follows her all the way to the car, and it's like, okay, at that point, just take the loss. Take the loss on that.
And Ryan's like, I said leave her alone.
Yeah, the most dramatic thing is like shoplifting and her alcoholism. Like, that's what I love about this show, because like if this was now, it would be like, it would be completely different, because I don't think that those things like are that significant anymore, because especially like in this show when people say I'm pregnant, and I'm like, yeah, but like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend had like straight up an abortion, like this is this is not, these are things that like they've when things that we're talking that are more normal now to see on TV weren't as normal or not normalized then. And so I'm thinking like, wow, shoplifting was a big deal. Like, you didn't call me and now, we're enemies. And I'm like, oh God, this is too much.
I'm just really glad that the cop scene ended up the way it did, because I was like, if he takes the blame for this alcohol being in the car, I'm gonna fucking kill somebody.
Yeah.
And I just really liked the dramatic scene of him slamming the car multiple times, because I was like, she deserves that. She's being annoying. And he's like, you're scaring me. He's like, good, you're scaring me. And I was like, that's actually not bad, folks. That is not bad. Scare her straight.
And now I'm still thinking about like my final answer on hating Marissa, but she's just such a risk to him. Like, he's trying to get his life together, and she's just such a fucking mess that like she's just a risk. And I think that's what pisses me off the most about her, because she's so dramatic. Like she lies out her ass about everything. Like even just when she was like, can you grab something for me, and then shoves a bottle of vodka in her purse.
So,
like, it's like
so awkwardly too, clumsily. It's like, in case the viewers could not tell this was vodka, let me just fumble it around for a whole 10 seconds. I did love this episode though. I was like full in, and like I said, it felt familiar even though I hadn't seen it before. This was a good episode. This is an episode that I like. Your speaking parts, at least, not ours, is something I would listen to on a podcast that I was interested in and be like, oh yeah, that would like inspire me. I'd be fucking hype.
Agreed.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I love your show just because like I think about what like my perfect episodes of television, and I don't even know quite the criteria of it, but like for me that's like perfect. And I think this Chrismukkah episode is perfect because like it has all the drama, like it has everything that you want people to watch, you know, when it's like, this is a Chrismukkah episode, and like bam, we're gonna throw this thing in there. And then if you do watch season 2's Chrismukkah episode, like there's a huge bomb that gets dropped in that one. And then season 3, there's like not as big of a bomb, but it's still pretty significant. And season 4 is funny because it's a Chrismukkah, which is like, what if Ryan never came to Newport? And what happens with all the characters there if Ryan had never come to Newport?
I love a good alternate reality episode.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That you know you're in your last season when you're pulling out fucking alternate universes.
Yeah, you're like incorporating characters that you just introduced.
Well, that wraps it up.
That does. Joe, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for joining us, bringing us so much happiness.
We're big fans of you and of the OC.
Oh, thank you. If you want to talk about anything else in the future, let me know, because I don't have a pressing episode at the moment, so I'm not going to like, you know, predict what it is I'll be on the show for, but you know, I'm interested in a lot of TV, so
me too. So you just brainstorm, and whenever you're inspired, you're on. And that's it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy Chrismukkah.
Happy Chrismukkah.
Happy Chrismukkah, y'all. Bye.
This has been My Favorite Episode Of. My Favorite Episode Of is produced by Matt Kelly as part of the Geekscape Network and hosted by Julie and Kathleen. Check out our show notes for all of our socials and email us at myfavoriteepisodepodcast@gmail.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting apps, and we'll be back next week with another episode of My Favorite Episode Of.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.